Hello everyone, I'm Deb.
And I'm Liz, and this is our second broadcast on Flosstube.
Yay! We want to start off by thanking everyone who has taken the time to watch, and also just all the sweet comments that everyone is leaving for us. We really enjoyed reading everything, and we're just very blessed by all of
Absolutely
you.
surprised
Yeah,
by
thank
all the people
you.
who took the time to do that.
Yeah, very sweet. What a sweet community everyone is. And we just wanted to, I wanted to say something quickly because at one of our comments, we got referred to homesteading on the home front because you very sweetly gave us a shout out. Thank you so much. That was awesome. And I fell in love with both of you. I mean, my goodness, little one, you are adorable. You're just, we nicknamed you Cutie Patootie because you're just adorable. I really enjoyed your channel. And Lynette, you are doing the fresh eggs by Cross-Eyed Cricket, and I love it because it has chickens on it. And I thought your idea of changing the colors to match the colors of your chickens was very clever. So I think I might try to do that too. I told Liz right away, that's a pattern I need. And I also love your metal chicken magnet. Right? That you can stick your scissors to. That's adorable. I love that too.
Was that a puffin? Was that a...
It was one of these.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that a lot. So, because now I'm, of course, into all things chickens and cows and...
farm.
Yeah, all that good stuff. And also we got to watch Flannel Jammy's farm. I had never seen her before, and I thought she was adorable, and I love her hairstyle. Thought it was very cute for her. Thank you so much for everybody that's subscribing. Very sweet. So we did have a few questions, and unfortunately we can't probably answer them all, but Nicole Kelly was wondering a few things, and I thought it would be nice for you to get to know us a little bit better if we answered her questions, because she wants to know, Liz, how you like to stitch. Where you stitch, how you like to stitch, frame, no frame, lighting,
Okay.
all that good stuff.
I started stitching with a hoop. And the first time I saw someone stitching using a sewing method with a hoop, I said to myself, that's not cross stitch. Nobody cross stitches like that. And then I realized that you could use that sewing method with stitching in hand and not using a hoop or a frame. And that I really liked.
Because you like to stitch in hand a lot. You're good at that.
So I adopted that as my style. Only if I'm having difficulty, I have some issues with my spine. If I'm having difficulty, I will use a frame on some pieces, especially if they're bigger. Most of the time only if the linen itself is too loose. If it's a pattern I buy and then I can substitute linen that I have or I pick out for that piece, I usually don't worry about it. But sometimes a kit will come with something and it's just not exactly what I would use, but it's the right color, and so I play around with that. The frame I do like to use if I do stitch with a frame is, it's a sort of a version of a Q-snap, and it's by R&R, I think it's R&R Productions, and it has two sizes. One's larger and the flip side is smaller. And then they have that same frame in an even larger size with two other dimensions. And you can find those online. There's a store in, I believe it's Toronto, Gidda's Stitch Shop, and they have them. But that was where we were when we first met at the retreat. I was shopping for that frame.
Yeah. It's neat because it's angled.
Yes.
You can...
It sits almost like an easel, and so you can move it to and from, and you can even turn it to either side, any way that's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And I did have one time a designer that I was taking a class from tell me that they will use the sewing method when they use a Q-snap. They just loosen the fabric a little bit so they can have their finger behind it and they can still stitch from the front. So I have tried that. I use a Dazer light in my craft room when I stitch, and I use a Mighty Bright LED floor or table. It's adjustable either way. By the recliner out in the living room. So.
And we are coming to you today from Liz's craft room. Sometimes you'll be able to see my craft room. We're going to film at both of our houses.
Yep.
So, in our first video, I had the wooden lap frame that I like to use. Who is that?
American Dreams.
Okay. That one I love. I like to work on that a lot. And I just hook my Q-snap right to that. I do like to use a frame because I'm not good at stitching in hand. I like my material to be tight. And whenever I try to stitch in hand, I think I hold my fabric too tight or something because my hands start to hurt. So I do like to use Q-snaps. I have a floor frame also that uses more, it can use a scroll to it or put a Q-snap in it. And she also was commenting, she wanted to know about my magnifier clip that I had on my first, in our first video. So this is natural light, and I love it because it has a huge clip on it. And you can put this on your Q-snaps and never worry about it kicking itself off or popping off. And it also has a light underneath the magnifier. Did I just magnify myself? I must have had like a huge eye.
The kids.
But anyway, I love to use that. Ever since I turned 40, I've been having problems seeing up close. So yes, I need a magnifier and glasses usually. So that helps me a lot.
She just debunked the 29 theory.
All right. So thank you for your questions. I would like to show a finish. When we had our first video, I had this on the frame. It's the Autumn Woodland Quaker piece. And I did not have very much left to do, so
Autumn Quaker Forest?
Yeah, is that?
I think so.
Yeah. So anyway, this is it. I know exactly where it's going to hang, so it's going to go to the framer very soon. But it turned out really pretty. So that is finished.
That is
Yay.
all DMC colors.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So I'm excited
And that
to
is
see
a
that.
pretty good sized piece of fabric.
Yes,
So
it is.
don't get too shell shocked. But it is. It's
Yeah.
of all the things we've done so far, that particular piece of fabric was probably one of the more expensive
Yeah,
pieces
I think
we
so
bought.
too. But it was nice to stitch on. Really nice to stitch on.
Yeah.
Couple other things I'm working on. This I'll be working on for a very long time. We have the Prairie Schooler alphabet from A to Z, and I decided to do it in
A to Z.
Yeah, over one. So I have a couple blocks finished already. I have A, B, and C. It'll be 3 blocks wide by 9 long.
And the reason for that, if you do the math, is because there's an ampersand
Oh yeah.
in the alphabet that
Yeah.
makes it work out that way.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out how you got that from 26 letters. Also, the idea for this came from Dee up in Canada. She was doing this, and she had a different layout to it. And when I showed Deb the floss tube and showed her this pattern, it was hands down, we have to do this.
Yes.
So
yes.
we went to town trying to collect the patterns
And this is even weave,
Mhm.
and it's
lamb's wool.
what did we say? 32 count lamb's wool. Yeah. So
Yep.
that's going to be a very long project, but it's fun. Oh, and check out my scissor fob. Really, really good friend named Liz made this for me. Isn't
I
it
love
cute?
this scissor fob.
Isn't that nice? She's so sweet. Whenever she makes something for herself, she makes one for me too. I guess I whine enough. So it's working. I have to show you some of her other fobs. She does peyote stitching, and it's gorgeous. She made this is what's his name again? Jack. He's so cute. Thank you. She also made one for me. That's Jack. And this guy, Scarecrow. It's so cute. Got all your beads on there. And the Christmas stocking. And didn't this come with a set?
That has a sewing kit to go with it. It looks like a stocking, just like that black and white.
Yeah.
And where the two little white spots are on the stocking and the peyote, there's a little pocket and a little flannel piece that comes out, or fleece. And then you can put your scissors inside the stocking. It's very cute when it's done.
Very cool.
I want to just show one picture if I can. There's another pattern by Fern Ridge, and her name is...
I don't know how.
Oh gosh,
it's
I
not
forgot
showing
her
up,
name.
Liz. Yeah. Oh,
Here,
that's a shame.
Let me see if I can change the background. But it has... it has a...
Oh, she disappeared too.
there she is.
Voila! There.
There is a brown version of her. Felicity, I think is her
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I think so.
I have two granddaughters, and so I changed the beading
So cute.
and the charms, and I did this one in violets, and then a second one I'm working on now is in greens and olives for my other granddaughter. So they're fun to
Very
change
cool.
out too.
Very cool. All right, another work in progress is the Quilted Garden from Blue Ribbon Designs. This one's really pretty. Colors are beautiful. I guess I should really learn to take things out of the package because there's such a glare. Sorry about that.
That was our first trip down to Salty Yarns, wasn't it?
I think so because they had it framed and it was in their lobby. Yeah, it was beautiful. So
They did theirs over 2 though, didn't they? Their model?
mine's over 2.
Is that over 2 also?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
count?
Very small.
Are you on 40 count?
It's either 36 or 40.
Okay.
I forget. I'll have to look it up. But this is what I have finished so far. And I am doing a lot of back stitching in my quilts. I don't know that it calls for that, but it just, I think, it helps it stand out a little bit more. Let it pop a little more. But it's so pretty. And I can get this out now because it has flowers and stuff, and that means...
And we just had a huge storm, which I think might be our last.
Oh, I hope so. I love snow, but I'm ready for spring now. So, all right. And I also, since I'm ready for spring, I picked out a pattern that I would like to start doing. This is Rebecca the Rabbit. Kind of Quakerish and really, really cute. So I started her, and that's as far as I got with... Are you doing it too? Yep. Aww.
Yep.
You didn't tell me you were getting her out.
I started her last
It's
week.
like a surprise stitch along.
Yes. Happy
Aw.
stitch along. You're usually so far ahead of me on stuff.
Let me see. What'd you get? What'd you get?
How far did I get? Let's see. I start a different place than you all the time.
Yeah, I always start in the middle, usually. And
I started on the edge, on the border.
okay, cool.
I started, let's see, across the top, and then I went down to the sign
Yeah,
just at the edge.
sweet.
So, well, you can't see it.
Aw, that's
down
neat.
to the edge.
Yeah, and
And she started her face,
started my bunny face.
Rebecca's face.
Cool.
It seemed so odd when we got this out. It had been a long time since I'd had it out. We had kitted our
We
patterns
kitted it up a long
ago.
time ago. Yeah.
And I looked at it and I thought, are we doing that over one?
I know,
or
I
two?
forgot.
I had to count it out and figure it out, and I was so happy it was over 2, because I just, after the Easter piece I'm working on now that I'm probably going to change out to 2, I thought I don't want another over 1.
Aw. Oh, that's cool.
We
So
could put your face with my border.
Oh, yeah, we could.
We could get through this really fast.
I also wanted to show you something. I ordered a banner to do a what?
Eye stitch
An eye
design called Blue
blue banner. It was a blue banner and a red banner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't it kind of, not really a stitch along, but almost like a surprise? Like they give you a couple lines?
No, it was
each
like a stitch along. Each
stitch
month
along
they
each month.
released
Yeah.
one
But we didn't find it till the end.
band. Thank you. It's a band
sampler, yes.
I knew there was a word we weren't getting.
It'll come to us.
So it's called Blue Band Sampler. They have a
Yes.
red version too, of a different pattern.
Yeah.
But our guild retreat we were at, well, we were on a weekend getaway with members of our guild, and
Yeah.
they were working on it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. So I wanted to get some of the banding, but it was kind of hard to get the banding, and someone at our guild let us know to go to Sassy Jack's Stitchery, and anyway, she sent it to me in the mail, and I wanted to show you how it came because I thought it was so cute. She had it also wrapped in tissue paper with a green bow, but she stuck in a wooden ruler and her card, but then also a needle for the fabric, and everything is tied together. I thought that was so cute. She didn't have to do that, and that was adorable. So I'm going to start working on that. That's something you could do just a little bit at a time, and it's such a little thing to work on that you could take it with you, even different places, easy, transportable. So that's what I'm working on. Oh, and Liz has some finishes.
I do. Last week I think I had a piece that I still had some work to do, and I was going to put the band around it. And so I backed the entire piece with this green calico, and then brought it up around, and I really like the effect that had on it. It's called a fortune teller. You probably remember back in elementary school the days when you put numbers on the outside and then you counted and you got to pull up the inside, and then the final version of this, whether you're picking an animal, a balloon, or a flower, becomes a charm inside. And then it came with a little piece of paper to tell you what the charm meant, but I really like that piece. For as little as that involved stitching,
so
the
cute.
finishing really came out cute.
It did, yeah. I love your fabric.
And
Very
then with this regular broadcasting and accountability, I decided to finish another mouse, so we have another mouse in the house. That is the Merry Christmas mouse.
Can you
She
see
has a
him?
little beaded tiara sort of on her head. And I wanted to mention about finishing her. I've come up with a way that I finish them that makes it very quick to finish. There's an outlined border around the whole piece, which obviously is very small. It's about this big. And I took a thicker muslin and I cut it out to the finished inside design, not including that border around the edge. And then I stitched the side seam together. Then I stuffed that with whatever. This one happens to be polyfill, and it gave it a nice firm finish. I was playing with it in comparison to the one I did with, I'm sorry, poly pellets. Polyfill is in my other one.
Oh.
This is the pellets. The polyfill made it just a little bit more yielding, and it didn't have quite the weight to it. So I really do like the way
I like that.
the poly pellets finished. But what I do then is I just take that little form that I made and I wrap my piece around the form, whip stitch it down, then I gather the bottom of the form, I close it around everything I stuffed in it, tie it off, and then I put the raw edge down inside of the form so it's all flat, and then all you have to do is set that button on the end of your whip stitch and gather that whole end up around the button, and you don't have to worry about tucking anything into the finished piece. It's just wrapped around that form. Made it very quick. The first one I did, I fumbled with for quite some time. So I thought about it, and now both of the other ones I've done have made it very, very easy to finish.
Now you got it down to a science.
Yep.
And another finish.
This was a piece that was with Betsy Morgan, a designer that's relatively local. She's on the mid-Atlantic here on the coast with us. She taught this stitch called the Aztec Stitch to our guild. and we did a scissor fob at class to
Right
learn
there.
the stitch. And then the rest of the needle book, Deb's holding up. The front was the Aztec Stitch, and the back was just your initials and the date. And then inside were the needle pages.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to be able to grab it and not have to think about anything else. So I just put a little crocheted magnetic disc, has a hole in the center of it, in the back, so that my scissors will stick to it, and then I can just grab that and go.
Mhm.
Right now it's a curio cabinet, but
Yeah.
the idea is if I ever have a nice basket I want to take places, I can
And
drop
the
it in
ribbon
there.
weaving, or is that?
Yes, that lace
braiding,
pattern.
yeah, the lace.
That's a
That's pretty.
technique I had never done before.
Yeah.
That went fairly quickly. I do believe I had to try that one or two times, primarily because you have to get sort of the idea behind the tension on it so that it closes easily enough. But
That's true.
it was a lot of fun to finish.
Mine's not finished yet. All right, so I do have another finish. I think Ivan was loving this a little bit.
To get a dog print.
I finished stitching it a while ago, but I just got it finished under glass, and I'm so glad I did. It was put under museum glass. It's in one of the boxes. We got this at Salty Yarns,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't have anything inside of it yet, but it's a Jeanette Douglas piece, Stitching Treasures. It has a lot of cool stitches in it, which is really fun. And it has some beads, and it has charms. Very nice saying. And it's a lot of fun to stitch, and her colors are always so beautiful, her thread colors. I went ahead and put, see that butterfly charm, the gold one? And then there's a D right there. And of course my name is Deb, but my mom's name is Dolores, so those two charms are my mom's, and she wore them all the time. So this box always helps remind me of her, and she passed away when I was 16. And that has a lot to do with me stitching or learning how to stitch, because there was someone at our high school that was a teacher's aide, and she really took me under her wing, and I could go home with her after school, and she'd help me with my homework, and I'd stay for dinner, and I just was with her a lot. She became like another mother to me. Yeah, I mean, my dad still had to work full time and take care of two teenagers, so it was nice not to have to go home after school alone when Mom wasn't there. So Gigi became very, very important to me. And one day I was in her living room and I saw this basket next to her chair, and I asked her about what was in it, and she told me it was cross stitch, and she said, you know, I think this would be something that you would really enjoy, because it's so, what's the word? Like,
Restful?
yeah, yeah, and just,
It's an escape.
yeah. So we went away to the mountains. We went to the nearest Walmart and got one of those prepackaged little tiny kits with the plastic hoops, and it was a hot air balloon with a teddy bear in it on 14 count Ada, I guess. And she took that weekend and just taught me how to cross stitch, and I fell in love with it right away. Loved it, and been stitching ever since. But I'm just so grateful, you know, to her that she took the time out with me and just took me in and loved me, and that was just one thing I can be thankful for. But Liz and I were actually talking earlier about how important it is to, I don't know, teach little ones, and hopefully they'll grow up to be stitchers. Liz was actually a DMC mentor a while ago, and I mean, you actually mentored kids about stitching, right?
They had a program DMC did. They started advertising it in their different publications, not just theirs, but the cross stitch magazines. And I responded to it, and they would send you little kits that were maybe an inch and a half tall, a little motif that you cross stitched.
Yeah.
Had a needle, the thread, the fabric, and the directions in the graph. And they would send you as many as you needed for the class you were teaching, and it was wonderful. And so I had started with a group at at Rock Falls, which is where we lived. And they were, maybe about 10. And I thought that it was pretty straightforward, easy. I told them we'd need about 40 minutes for the class. And it was 8 weeks later when we finished.
Oh my.
I found out that they didn't know how to thread a needle. They didn't understand how to count the pattern. And I learned a lot teaching them. I learned how you just need to be willing to meet them where they are and change everything you've learned about cross-stitching to be relevant to what their needs are. And if you tie a knot to that needle so they don't keep losing
Yes,
their
and
thread,
just keep pulling it out, yeah.
you do the first couple times around. And we learned that framing something didn't go over real well. They were much more interested in having something tangible. So we made little pillows out of their finished pieces. And I changed the count on the fabric to be like a 6 count,
Okay.
Ada. So I would encourage anybody who knows younger people, whether they're 10 years old or 20 years old. I grew up in the service, and my sisters and I would go through the neighborhood when the truck was being emptied at our new house, asking people if they had any kids that wanted to come out and play. And now I just ask people if they have any kids, or do they want to learn how to cross stitch. So it is amazing that you can find people, a lot of them associated with grandmas still.
Right.
But the techniques and the pieces and the creativity that's there is so different than just your basic framed pieces anymore.
Yeah, and all it takes is just that little spark that, to teach someone. And I learned how to cross stitch through Gigi, but then of course taking other classes, I've learned how to do lots of other stitches, and also trial and error, and then moving on from Ada to linen, and it's just wonderful. So.
And I would make a suggestion too. People give you ideas, or they talk about the way to do things. Play around with it. I mean, I remember one time I took some different sized fabric pieces and took the same little pattern and stitched them on all the different sized pieces, some with solid colors, some with hand-dyed colors, threads, and then on different pieces, just to see what the difference in all of the different things look like. And then you can decide what you enjoy more or don't like. And this publication, the Cross Stitcher's Bible, is awesome about giving ideas and insights and tips. I actually read it cover to cover because I found it very, very interesting. Most people use it as a reference, but I strongly recommend it if you're looking for anything that you're looking for ideas, or even patterns. There's a lot of patterns in here too.
Yeah, yes. And this is awesome. This goes along with the box. I did not stitch it yet. Liz gave me this as a gift for either my birthday or Christmas.
You might have gotten it again this Christmas.
Yeah, and then she forgot she gave it to me as a gift. But you stitch all the pieces that go inside the box and the lining around the edge. So that'll be really pretty.
I really like that piece.
Yeah, it's very, very pretty. Nice keepsake. And I love that saying on the box. It says, "All I need is silk and thread, linen so fine, a golden needle, and stitching time." So I think that's really cool. But it's fun to add little touches like that, like family charms to things, or I don't know, something that reminds you of someone else. So that's now we have like a little stitch along going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't hold us to it.
All right. Well,
We pretty much have thought that we get together about once a week to stitch, sometimes more than that, depending on what our schedules are. So we thought we might share some of that time with you. So you might see us once a week. Keep watching for us, and thank you again for joining us and taking the time to watch.
Yes. Thank you very much. All right. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.